welcome back. Outside Minds podcast. Because you've already seen too much, bro.
They only added it so it could be like a ritual.
They're saying there's these, the end of times, right? There's all these signs.
Do you think we would know? Like, do you think the general public would know if Jesus came back?
Take a picture for $5. You have a purpose in life, and if you don't fulfill it, you will come back until you fulfill it.
Welcome back to another episode of the Outside Minds podcast. I'm your host and creator, Stilo Free. This is the other host and creator,
.420.
And we got an excellent special guest. We met this man on Instagram. He decided to ask to be a part of the show. I said, I'd love to have you to be a part of the show. He does past life regressions. He is known as Journeys into Past Lives on Instagram. Please welcome to the show, Jonathan. Go ahead and let him know a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you, buddy.
Hello. Thanks for having me on. I do hypnotherapy, the spiritual type, past life regression, and a lot of people, I thought it was kind of wild that people can remember what happened before they were born in their past life memories. And the weird thing is everyone can do this. I've done this with people all over the world, all different cultures, religions, doesn't matter. They go into their past lives, fears, phobias, birthmarks can be revealed. So we can do some deep healing and spiritual work.
Wow. So let me ask you this. How did you get into practicing past life regression therapy?
I was just wondering those deeper questions. Why are we here? What's our purpose? This life is why are we, what's really happening? Who runs the world? Conspiracy theories. Yeah. You guys know about that, right?
Yes,
I know
sir,
the listeners do too.
For sure.
So one thing was like, what's the truth behind like religion and all these different religions and reincarnation? And right now, over half the world believes in reincarnation. Buddhism, Judaism, Hinduism, Jainism. It's the West that forgot. But this is not religious. This is just spiritual, which encompasses all. And I was just trying to figure out why all these people can go into their past lives and they have deep meanings of like birthmarks. And this one lady was a horse breeder in her past life. She always drew pictures of horses when she was little.
Oh, wow.
There's a whole section of this called Children's Past Lives. Innocent little 4-year-olds are asking their parents, remember when we were Japanese? And all these questions.
There's that series on Netflix called Life After Death, and it's about that doctor who studied those children, and it's super interesting because those stories, like, they can't be made up once they find like the actual proof of what they're saying. It's like there's no way that's a coincidence. Like it's too specific.
I think there was this dude or this girl or something like that, and she was like, I had these two twins. Or it was a guy. He was like, I had these two twins, and I think he was the mom in the past life, and he actually traveled and actually ended up meeting the two twins. I believe it was somewhere in England like that. But yeah, you're starting to hear about more of that kind of stuff all the time, and I think it's correct that you said the West kind of forgot about reincarnation because a lot of the traditions and a lot of the way people believe in the Western world, like, modern Christianity and stuff like that would kind of, say reincarnation doesn't exist and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So do you kind of get a lot of people that push back on your practice? Like, oh my God, like that's devil worship. They're talking to demons and stuff like that. Cause there's a pocket of the spiritual community, or not even the spiritual community, but I would say the Christian community that kind of tries to demonize anything new age and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Do you ever kind of run into any of those comments or anything like that?
Sometimes I think I resonate with people. I think everyone needs to be their true authentic self more. And the people that vibe with it will vibe with it. The people that don't will just go find their own thing. So it doesn't bother me at all. If they show me evidence of their thing being more real, that's great. But as long as they don't cram it down my throat, I'm not going to cram it down theirs. I just try to help people. Yeah. The people that come to me are mostly Christian because mostly from the US, UK, and Australia are most of my clients.
Wow.
So it's whatever. I think people are more open now to different things.
So I feel like what you have is a gift. Do you feel like you always kind of had access to like any kind of spiritual gifts, or do you feel like this is something that you unlocked along the journey? Because like you said, like we all kind of inherently have these gifts. Would you say that you kind of always felt like you had something else going on within you, or did you kind of feel like this is something you discovered along the way?
Yeah. So I want to be clear. I'm not a psychic. I have intuitive abilities, but I'm a hypnotherapist. So I guide my clients to a deep state of relaxation so they view their past lives like a daydream, like they're getting visions, knowings, or
Okay.
feelings. They're in the scene, they're in it. Just like you would regress someone to childhood to alleviate childhood trauma or problems. I do that too. We can go back even further, and it's not that much more difficult to go back even further to past lives. And so, my gift is being open, non-judgmental, being a good facilitator and having, I guess, a good story time telling voice because
Okay.
Right.
everyone I do this with goes
Yeah.
and they get hypnotized. And hypnosis is it's very easy. We go in and out of it 12 times a day on average. All of us do it. It's very natural. And just learning about the subconscious mind helped me with my healing journey. And now I want to share that with others.
Wow. Let me ask you this, because when I shout out to Arzu, she was our one of our other guests that she did QHHT, past life regression. And when I went to her to do a past life regression session, I kind of felt like I was making it up, but at the same time, it kind of the story that I got from my past life, it made sense with my current life. And the way I was getting the information was the same way that I get information when I tap into the Akashic records, which is claircognizance. Would you say that people are receiving their past lives through these psychic gifts that everyone can eventually unlock on their spiritual journey?
That's a great point, Jeremy. Yeah, so we all have like a sixth sense or dominant sense. So some people it's visions. Some
Yeah.
people get really triggered. One of my most talkative clients didn't see anything, and he just got knowings or feelings. I just
Whoa.
had a lady
Yeah.
last week. She's she does she does dowsing rods and finds water like lines through the
Mm-hmm.
earth and
Yeah.
bells. Really, you heard of that?
Yeah.
And so she was just getting a knowing the whole time. So yeah, whatever your dominant sense is will come through, and what will surface is the universe communicates with everyone differently. If you like math or music or poems or colors, it'll show you that in the
Yeah.
session.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah, it's basically your subconscious communicating with your conscious, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. You're tapping into the higher self, your subconscious mind.
Yes, nice. Can you actually describe what it is during one of your sessions, which you do, how you regress a client into a past life?
Well, basically, it's a guided meditation. So it's, anyone out there listening who's never done hypnotherapy. So the reason we're scared of it is because Hollywood, every single movie is a thriller or a horror movie
Yeah.
on it. So that plants the seed. So ask yourself this: they hypnotize you to be scared of this superpower tool that you can use for sports performance, stop smoking, weight loss, anything, relationships. You can use hypnotherapy. It's so much more powerful than talk therapy. In 1 or 3 sessions, we can alleviate traumas, wounds. We can help people with deep things. With talk therapy, it takes months or years. All talk there. If you're a therapist out there, learn hypnotherapy and call it meditation at the end of your sessions. Do it. I have a few students. I teach hypnotherapy as well if anyone wants to learn. And my student is a therapist, and she's been using hypnotherapy at the end of her sessions, and it's been working so much better. She's been seeing
Nice.
amazing results. So it's basically a guided meditation. We relax the breathing, the body, and then the mind to a deep state of relaxation. We count down even deeper, and then we go into a theta frequency, the frequency of
Yes.
hypnosis. All children are in that frequency. That's why you mentioned earlier, children can remember their past lives between 0 and
Yes.
age 8. Channelers, mediums, psychics go into that frequency when they raise their vibration.
Yes.
They're able to, it's like the pineal gland is tapping it. It's like your mind is a computer that's offline. And when you go into that frequency, you're like online with the
Yes.
ether, the universe.
Yes.
So that's what we do. And everyone can do it. That's the beautiful thing. We didn't learn how when we were kids.
Yeah. Yeah, or we forgot when
Yeah,
we grew
I
up,
was
when we
gonna say
hit
that.
that next level of consciousness. You said, we got to get into that theta, but I think we hit that next brainwave where we're kind of more aware and we're kind of more on the left brain side of things as opposed to the right brain side of things. And it's funny that you say, well, that you mentioned that you're basically getting yourself into a meditative state, because back years and years and years ago when I was like getting into this kind of stuff, I was like, I want to do a past life regression. Like, how do I do that? And then I search on YouTube. I'm like, okay, guided past life regression. And I was never able to get a past life regression from it. But the one thing I did get one time was I got into a very, 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 very relaxed meditative state. And I was like, oh, this is what it feels like to meditate.
This is different. Yeah.
Yes. And ever since then, I've been able to meditate like much easier. You know what I mean? Do you have kind of like a meditation schedule that you maintain at all?
Yeah, and actually, I like meditation so much, I do it every day. So,
Nice.
I think hypnotherapy is easier because meditation is very quiet and still, and it's you can have racing thoughts, depending on your mood. So with hypnotherapy, it's just a voice. As long as you're listening to the voice and staying with it, it guides you down to that deep state, even deeper than meditation, more effortlessly. So I do it every day, just for like a chakra clearing or confidence or sports performance, just something light. We don't always have to do that. I help my clients mostly with trauma, PTSD challenges like that in past lives, but you can do it every day for just relaxation, and it feels really good. And actually, we go into alpha when we watch TV. So if you're scared of hypnosis, don't watch the news or TV. Go into alpha. Right?
Yeah, don't watch the programming, because it's funny that they get you into that kind of state and push all this fear and stuff at you to program you. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people, when they have their spiritual awakening, the first thing they do is turn the TV off. They have a totally different taste in music because they're realizing that this media and this music is affecting us on multiple levels. You know what I'm saying? Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I never liked the news ever. I never watched it. It was always just like this. They do a weird pitch of the voice too, to make it more authoritative. So if you don't want to, if you're scared of hypnosis, don't watch the news or TV. The marketers know what they're doing. They use it against you. So use hypnotherapy to your advantage. I have an app called Journeys into the Subconscious. It's an app. You can listen to my app, my voice, my meditations, my hypnosis every day. There's different ones on different things. There's one for past lives, trauma release, daily meditation. So you can use it to your advantage. And for people that like substances, like when I was younger in my 20s, I used to drink a lot. I like that feeling. And a lot of spiritual people like that higher vibrating feeling. How do you get there more though? Well, you can stay active. You can work out. But you can't always be active in working out. But what you can do is go into that hypnosis state.
Yes.
I have one for just feeling good, like you're on a substance, and you get that elevated feeling.
I smoke cannabis. I manage a cannabis shop, and I do have times where I go on my breaks, and there's times where I'm just like, I kind of want to smoke a joint or something like that. It's time to go meditate. You know what I'm saying? Feel that body numbness. You know what I'm saying? Mind awake, body numb. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a great place to be. I got to get back to meditating every day, because I was doing it every day and then I kind of fell off track, but I think that happens, you know what I mean? But anyways, I asked you this on the pre-interview. Can you tell us a little bit about your personal method? And because I wanted to talk about Dolores Cannon, because she's one of the more at least famous past life regression therapists, and I asked you if your method was kind of like similar to hers, if it was different, and then you mentioned that you kind of had your own technique. So can you kind of talk about that and expand on it a little bit?
Yeah. I love Dolores Cannon, by the way. If anyone out there hasn't read any of her books, they'll keep you up at night. They're not, I listen to it before bed, but they're so interesting. I can't fall asleep because there's these stories of past life.
On that note, real quick, before you answer the question, I think she has a whole book about a bunch of her clients remembering past lives in Atlantis, I think, and that's super trippy. But yeah, can you talk about your own technique in comparison to Dolores Cannon?
Yeah, she's passed away now. Michael Newton is another good one, and so I worked with people who took her course, who took her classes and stuff like that. So I have her method, and I use some of it, but I use my own I use basically a combination of Dolores Cannon, Michael Newton, and Roger Woogler, and my own, what I've found to be unique from other psychics and mediums that I've done sessions with. So I have my own method. However, it's very similar. We go to about 3 past lives, like QHHT. We call the higher self forward, but I found an even better way to call the higher self forward in my sessions, where it's less direct, because sometimes it's kind of so I'll tell you guys this. I had a client last month. I called her higher self forward, and her voice completely changed, her tone and her words shifted like an entity was talking through her. And that's kind of weird for some people. So I don't do that as much anymore. I have a different way to do that, but that can happen in the session. And many times I said, "Who are you?" And they say, "We are not one, we are many." So
Wow.
beyond 5D is it's a collective consciousness.
You're talking to
and
the whole
it's more
tribe.
like a group. It's like a hive. Yeah, it's like a group consciousness. So they're very loving. It's kind of like Raw, Law of One, the book. Raw, the channel.
Yeah.
If anyone's read that. But Abraham Hicks is similar. So she's or Basher. So people can do that. Not everyone can, but not everyone can do it either. So I have a different method where I have them meet with so in the past life, there'll be maybe a Native American Indian. I'll say, who's someone you look up to, like a wise medicine man? Like, you know how the tribe always had like not the chief, but like the shaman or something. I go to the shaman. And so they'll go to the shaman. All right, connect with the shaman and ask him questions. And they'll ask him questions and they'll get answers in real time, in real life from this being that's beyond time and space.
Wow. Wow. That's super amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That reminds me of Bashar, because the way you're describing it, it seems like you're guiding people to basically channel either their higher selves or a higher entity, kind of like Bashar is doing, but he's doing it himself. So basically this is kind of like you're kind of guiding someone into their own channel of their higher self, correct?
Yeah, and all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So you allow yourself to go. I'm not like, no one's like, control. If you wanted to not listen, you could just not, you're allowing yourself to let go and go deep. So once you learn how to do it, you can do it more effortlessly, like faster.
Wow.
Basher just does it because he's like a natural at it, I think. And so is Abraham Hicks. And so, yeah, my clients I teach them to do that, and then they can do it more often.
Wow. So you must be super great at this. Can you tell us about some of the past lives you've regressed yourself into? And I think a lot of the common themes, at least, are that our past lives are kind of like concurrent with our current lives, and kind of interrelated. Can you tell us about your past lives, and then can you tell us if any of your past lives are super like parallel with your life now?
Yeah, that's a good point. So in the spirit world, time is all happening at once. So
yes, I was going to ask you that later. Yes. Okay, cool.
You know, as a human, like we see beginning, middle, and end, right? So it's hard for us to conceptualize. But if you guys have noticed, there's certain cycles or patterns, relationship patterns that we've been in before that are recurring again. Things that just don't work out, career things, just things that repeat, cycles, pattern. That also happens in past lives. It could have happened for many, many past lives. We don't speak our truth. Our throat chakras clogged up.
Yes.
So I had this. I'll tell you a few stories, though. I had this one lady who came to me. She was from California. She was a singer, and she was scared of Egypt. She didn't know why. Well, before the session, she didn't tell me, actually, she was afraid of elevators. She has a phobia of elevators or being in closed spaces.
Okay.
And she brings snacks with us in case she gets like stuck, just like really wild phobia. And a lot of us have these phobias, but we just think it's so normal that we just go through our day to day with it. But with hypnosis, we can help alleviate it. And so in the sessions, she ended up going to Egypt, and I actually directed her to Egypt because I wanted to figure it out and help her. And she was a priestess. She was a very beautiful priestess with all these beautiful priestesses, and she would do rituals and spiritual. She would sing like she does now and perform with her rituals. So that was a cycle or pattern that she was into. She reported the priest or the pharaoh being extremely negative and mean. And one day she stood up for herself, put her foot down, and said, "You can't do this," and said, told him off. And but back then, he punished her. He punished her for speaking her truth, banished her to the dungeon where she was stuck in a 6x6 room. It was cold and musty. She died of starvation. Explaining what? Her phobia of elevators and
Egypt.
Being afraid of starving.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So it's connections like that.
Yeah.
And if it was just one client, that's fine. I don't, write it off, whatever. But it's happening every week. Every session is something different. And it's very connected. It's a cycle, a pattern that's repeating in that person's specific life. So it has validity when it's happening over and over, you know?
Yeah. So let me ask you this. I mean, you kind of just explained it, but you mentioned that time is nonlinear. So it's almost like we're experiencing these past lives as parallel lives, but we're only aware of this one that we're in right now, correct?
Yeah, that is pretty wild. We imagine imagine source or God or the universe, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
were kind of imagine a wave is part of the ocean and we are part of the universe, just like a wave is part of the ocean.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So it's all encompassing. However, our individual soul is within our incarnation, our physical avatar, our body currently. It's tethered to us. There's a cord that's connected to our higher self. Our higher self, we could only bring over a fraction of that light, or our body can't handle more of it yet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We're raising our frequency as the earth continues to rise its frequency and evolve. We can bring over more and more. That's why there's more psychics and mediums
More
coming
people have
out.
spiritual awakenings. They're ready for it. Their body can
Yeah.
contain the energy. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are arising and waking up. Um, but our individual soul has its own journey. It goes from lifetime to body to body to body to other incarnations before it goes back to home or source again. So it's not like we're tapping into a bank of past lives that aren't ours. They're all our past and future lives. I can bring people to future lives too. Those are pretty wild.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
No one actually in my app. I have a whole journey just for that. So I have
Okay.
journeys, which are trauma release, past lives, future past lives, childhood trauma, things like that. I have daily meditations that are easy and simple. Then I have custom sessions. Journeys into the Subconscious has custom sessions where
Okay.
you could be scared of peanut butter, and you can type in "I'm scared of
Oh,
peanut
wow.
butter." What are you scared about it? Oh, I'm scared of this, and it'll read you my voice, a meditation for it.
Oh, dang.
That's interesting.
That's crazy. Hey, utilizing technology to make us grow spiritually. That's what I like to hear. You know what I'm saying? I like it. So would
Yeah.
you say that we're kind of like, it's almost like our karma is our energetic signature that makes us aware of the timelines that we're going to experience. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't karma give us our weaknesses and our strengths and the experiences that we're going to experience on this plane as humans?
Our soul, our soul has we all have a unique fingerprint, a voice, a style. Through past lives, like if you're spiritual, you may have been a shaman or a Reiki person. If you're a business owner, you may have owned businesses. But we've all been male and female, rich and poor, light skin, dark skin. That's why it's wonderful. I think it'll help people with diversity and non-judgmental. We can view each other as just souls within this body and not focus on the differences so much. And not fear dying as well. I hope that that's my message to everybody. But yeah, so each life, imagine you're prejudiced to someone in this life. Well, in the next life, you might come back as that race and have that against you to learn that lesson.
Yeah.
So it's not always an eye for an eye, though. It's not like it's not like Hitler, if it's going to come back 1,000 lifetimes and just die a brutal death. But it'll show you lessons when we pass away or drop the body and we go up. We do view like our whole life audit of like what happened is all being recorded, and so it's really nice to be good to people because you'll see from their perspective of like what you did and what happened and how you made them feel.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you have any interesting past lives you've regressed yourself into or that you've seen when you've done it at all? Anything that you can mention off the top of your head?
I have some wild past lives. So man, I don't know how much I want to share with you because I just
That's
dealt
fine.
with
Just
some
share
trauma
whatever
recently.
you're comfortable with.
I just had apparently in a past life, I was a magician, like a sorcerer who had a harem of women who would follow me around.
Insane.
And I, abused
Okay,
their power.
Crowley.
So I'm learning to not do that this lifetime. And I am not doing that. So that's good. And then also I had a soulmate, a twin flame or soulmate. And it didn't work out this lifetime. And I
Uh-huh.
was so hurt by it. I was scarred. I help a lot of people with relationship trauma, and we all have relationship trauma.
Yes.
It hurts. It sucks, guys. I know. And your friends are just like, oh, just get over it, go on to the next one. But it's hard, right? We hold on to things. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I had that a lot, and I help people with that too. And it can be helped with hypnotherapy a lot. And I found out in my past lives, um, we were like in the woods together in like 300 years ago, and and then like the king, like a army of like 20 guys came with like a chariot, and they took her away from me, and she was mad at me because I didn't fight them enough. Like I didn't have any weapons and I didn't fight them
Wow.
enough, and she
Okay.
was resenting me for the
Wow.
rest of her life while she was like, away. I tried to save her but I couldn't. And so the next life she stabbed me to death, and the next life she cheated on me
Wow.
and left me. And in this life she screwed me over. So
Wow.
you can find out some wild things about
Wow.
who you
Yeah.
were.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's trippy because when I did my past life regression, it was about one of my my last relationship, and the parallels were just super uncanny. You know what I mean? There was I don't even want to get too deep into it, but basically, like, yeah, like I kind of like the lessons I was learning in that lifetime are the same lessons I was learning in this lifetime, and I'm just like, whoa, like it just tripped me out. You know what I mean? Like how much the lives are like we said, they're not really past lives; they're parallel lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
What?
and in the past lives you see today, or like a few years ago, whenever it was, you'll see different ones because we have hundreds of past lives.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like just we have like two. We have a lot because it takes a long time to learn. Earth school is really hard. That's what we incarnate on Earth with amnesia. We wake up, we don't know where we're at. We have to figure it out. It's tough, and people. I think more people, if they would see in both worlds, like see beyond the veil and in the physical world,
Mm-hmm.
we'd be nicer to each other. We'd realize,
Absolutely.
hey, it's not all scary and it's not a big deal. Like, let's not kill each other.
Yeah.
So we need to see from both angles and realize if we don't get along, you don't need to fight, but we can disagree and still like live together with each other and help each other. So your past lives you see in that session will be different than you will in 5 years from now because you're going through different challenges. So it'll show you what's most important. What will
Oh,
surface
yeah,
will
yeah,
be
yeah.
important at the time.
Yes, that makes sense. That makes sense. So what have you learned from doing this work? Like how long have you done this work, and what have you learned from just, doing so many past life regressions for people?
And I just went all in when I started doing this, and one after like my first 10 clients went into their past lives, and I was so blown away that
Wow.
I'm like, wow. So, and I didn't even tell them it was a past life regression. I just told them, hey, you have to become a hypnotherapist. I teach people to be certified hypnotherapists now, and I've been doing this for 6 years and probably 1,000 sessions at this point because
Wow.
I do it every week and I love it. I'm honored to meet spiritual people from all over, and the greatest people in the world. A lot of us are just the misfits, the black sheep.
Yeah.
We had traumas happen. We didn't know how to deal
Absolutely.
with it.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Through this work. Um, so, so where was I going with that?
Um, what did I ask him?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
you asked me, what have I,
Oh yeah. What have you
Oh
learned?
yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
the overall learning
Yeah,
of it.
what you've learned from doing so many past life regressions?
Yeah, when and how much you learned. You said 6 years ago, right? About
Yeah.
yeah, about 1,000 sessions. Yeah, I help people from all over, and it's wild. The universe will bring you the right people at the right time,
right.
and it'll if I'm struggling with a problem like relationship problem, it'll bring me someone who's struggling with that same
Yeah,
issue,
yeah,
and I'll
yeah.
see a reflection. Maybe you have people on the show like that give you that mirror.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's helped me so much with so many things because I wasn't I didn't have that much emotional communication when I was younger, and now I feel like I've gained that, and I can help my clients through that. And we all have trauma, guys. It's a spectrum on where we're at with it, but you can either let it run your life and suppress it, or you can get to the root cause, heal it, and move forward and keep that love, keep that authenticity going.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's all about integrating the shadow. That's what I always say. It's all about the shadow work. You know what I'm saying? You really got to confront the trauma and work through it as opposed to ignoring it, because when you bottle up stuff like that, it's going to come out eventually. You know what I mean? So let me ask you this. Have you ever encountered any clients that have recalled like non-human lifetimes, like maybe an animal lifetime, or like maybe even just like different states of consciousness where they weren't a human, they were like an entity or anything like that?
I knew you were going to ask that. So yeah, both or all those things. Yes.
Wow.
One, I'll give you an example. Last week I did a session with a client. She was an eagle. So usually they don't go into past lives as an animal. It's rare, but there's a reason. It's not like,
Yeah.
oh, we just want to be an insect or a deer. She was an eagle because the Viking was her soulmate in this lifetime. Her current boyfriend was the Viking, and she was the eagle. And the eagle would fly and like scout for them and like help them hunt and land on the arm and stuff. And so they had like a really close bond. I had someone be a horse in a past life, but their horse trainer was like a warrior, and they would have that close bond. So if you're an animal, it's usually like for a specific reason. You want to fly or something. But it's not like you've done it. It's rare. I'll say that. What isn't rare, well, I have a lot of clients that go to Earth past lives because that's what people are ready to see. A lot of people aren't ready to see or aren't open to the alien past lives yet.
Yeah.
If you think about who you are, your spirit and your soul, let's say Earth is gone tomorrow, but our soul is eternal. Where will we incarnate next if we haven't learned our lessons to transcend yet? We'll probably incarnate in another planet, right? With a different humanoid or species of alien. So just think about that. That's crazy, right? Yeah. Before Earth was here, maybe you incarnated somewhere else before. But a lot of us are earthbound souls. We're angelic souls. We're star seeds from Syrian, Archerian, different systems. Dolores Cannon has the 3 waves of volunteers that higher vibrating souls are coming here to learn lessons and also raise the frequency of Earth. So yeah, last month I had 6 people go in this. I usually get one a month. People just aren't ready, but one person 1 month is. And so they go to off-planet past lives, or they're on a spaceship, or they're in a future past life they're like an alien being. It's not that uncommon. But a lot of times our spirit guides will present themselves as human looking because that's how we recognize them, and they won't scare us because some of us aren't ready. Anyway, so I'll give you one example. I had this lady 2 months ago. She actually works on anti-gravity like spaceships right now, I think with Tesla or something, or SpaceX or something. And she's really into it, and she never feels like she's from here. She's a vegetarian, like complete, never wants to harm an animal. Really amazing woman. And in a past life, she was actually working on a spaceship on an alien planet. It was a multi-species planet with 2 suns, red sky. She was a humanoid, but there was also reptilian and blue skin beings as well. And they all got along. There was flying cars. They kind of live like us a little bit, but they're more spiritual. It's like Atlantis more. There's less war. And we all have one thing in common, where we come from source. So our human body and the alien body, they have a life force within us. And when we meditate, when we have to sleep, we have to meditate, we have to abide by universal laws like that. And so there's some commonalities. Like I'll say, go to a spiritual day and they'll be doing a ritual around a fire with elevated frequencies, like we do at concerts, like we did in Native American days, right? So they're not too much different than us, and I think we can get along with each other. We need to get along with each other.
Agreed.
Yeah. How often do your clients regress into far ancient civilizations, like maybe they're Mayan or, like you said, Egyptian or Greek or anything like that? And is it more often timelines that are closer to now, or can you expand on that a little bit? Or is it like all across the spectrum?
So Egypt is most common. Egypt was it was like over 2,000 to like 10,000 to 65,000 years ago, whatever, how long Egypt was, it's hard because, like we said, the spirit world, time doesn't exist. So it's hard to ask them for exact years. But Egypt, a lot of folks were from Egypt. That was a huge Mecca. But before that was Atlantis.
Yeah.
Before that was Lemuria. So that's Earth's history, kind of. But yeah, I've had a lot of people. I've had a few really spiritual people from Lemuria. That was so long ago, though. It's hard because they mostly go to recent past lives because that's what they need to work on to clear their karma.
Yeah.
Atlantis, crystals, amazing, luminous. It was too feminine, though. There's too much femininity there.
Yeah.
They needed more masculine. Then Egypt was actually not a desert when it was in its prime. It was actually a rainforest.
Yeah.
Or it was more green, and it was beautiful there. The pyramids had I had another person go to a past life in Central America, and on top of the pyramid was a crystal obelisk, and when the sun reflected on it, it would cast a like bubble of like a force field of energy of like love all throughout like the surrounding areas for miles.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So did you mentioned Atlantis? Do you get a lot of clients that are that regress to Atlantis?
If so, I can suggest they go places, but a good hypnotherapist does not lead. So if I ask you, are your feet webbed or scaly? That would be me leading. I don't lead people.
Right.
I let them, I let them go wherever the higher self brings them to where they need to go. I can lead them to places, but I try not to. So most of my clients just want to be healed and get the healing, and that emotion gets trapped in the body until it gets released, and it can be trapped for many lifetimes. And even this lifetime, if you had childhood trauma, that emotion might be trapped somewhere, and we help release it. I started doing this out of curiosity. I wanted to learn about all the questions you just asked me. But what I realized is it doesn't matter whether you go to a past life as a king, queen, pharaoh, celebrity, Atlantis, whatever. You could be a mundane farmer and enjoy life with 3 kids and a wife and a dog, and that could be the most important life you go to, because that's the life you need to see to heal.
Wow.
It's like in the intro when I say you will come back until you fulfill it.
You
need your fulfillment.
Exactly. So that my mom sent me this video, and I think it's this video I've seen before. It's a viral video that's been going around, and I believe this is a pet medium, and she was talking to this cat for one of her clients, and then she said that the cat was basically telling her the secrets of the universe. Do you ever get any sessions like that where your patient gets kind of tapped into like a higher intelligence, and they're talking about like the nature of reality or anything like that?
Yeah. So that the higher self can do that sometimes when it comes through the client and their voice shifts. I'm going to do another session with that lady. So I did a session with that lady who I might have told you about earlier in this conversation. I'm going to do another session with her. Wow. And I have like a list of questions. So if you have any questions, send them to me.
Okay,
but
cool.
That's
nice.
Yeah, so you can rattle off question after question. They want fast questions. They want more. And so you can ask it a lot of questions at once. It doesn't want to be bored, because they have to lower their frequency as we raise ours to meet and create a bridge. So they want to get it done. And the client feels like really high vibration when that happens.
How often do your clients not even remember what they were channeling in the session, or what they were experiencing? Do they usually come back with the memories? Or what they experience?
Yeah, they never forget. So hypnosis is not sleep or unconsciousness. They always remember.
Okay.
I record the session and send them a recording because it's like 3 hours. So it's like reading a book. You're not going to remember every word. You'll remember the main points.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So let me ask you this. Have you had any spiritual or profound experiences yourself, maybe like Kundalini awakenings, or maybe profound psychedelic trips or anything like that, that you can talk about at all?
Yeah. I've done Bufo before.
Oh, let's talk about it. You guys
heard of that?
Yeah, DMT, right? Toad venom?
Yeah, 5-MeO DMT from the toad, and then the combo from the frog, or one's from the frog, one's from the toad. Anyway, I did that before. I've done, I think it's great to do therapeutically, because LSD and You might as well, if you're going to do an Adderall, you might as well do a microdose LSD. It's better for you.
I did
and it
LSD
lasts
last
a long
weekend.
time.
Oh no,
Yeah.
New Year's Eve, so like 5 days ago. Yeah.
I'm not a shaman, so I can't recommend this stuff,
No,
guys.
no
but
one's.
I think
Yeah,
you should,
yeah.
yeah, do it therapeutically.
I felt like it
because
released all my emotions that I was holding in for sure.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what it's about. Yeah, some people who have bad trips, they do too much, and the emotions come up, and they don't know how to handle them. So
Right.
Yes,
you
yes.
you got to be ready,
Yes.
and it will show you what you need. And but the good thing is, after you work through it, it's gone.
Yes.
Yes, yes, you feel much better. So did you
Yeah.
do the Bufo experience? Was this kind of before you started doing your past life regression therapy? Was it before your spiritual journey, or like at what point did you try this? And then can you tell us about your experience a little bit?
Yeah. I recommend, we need to shift sometimes. And so a lot of times people do these journeys and then the past lives actually come up in ayahuasca ceremonies
Yes.
and the trips, and they come to me after because maybe they weren't able to release it. So what I do is, I would say safer a little bit. I don't think they're dangerous as long as you do them responsibly. But what I do, you activate the same neuroplasticity as the psychedelics. So come to me first, then do that. But
Yes.
the mushroom, the mushrooms. I have Oracle bars is awesome.
Nice.
My friend who has those, and you can gain so much from that. That's introspective, and what'll surface will be important. I did the Bufo. Yeah, the Bufo blasts you out of your body. So it's basically I didn't know this before I did it, but you kind of like, you leave your body. So it's almost like you die.
Yeah. You're experiencing
Like,
death without
people-
experiencing death, basically, right?
I haven't done 5-MeO,
Yeah.
but I've done the NN-DMT, and I've blasted off probably a dozen times at least, like straight out of my body, but in my mind.
Yeah, and I think it's good to be very intent. I did it. I was very intentional. I
Right.
did it with a shaman. I
Yeah.
did it with very deep hurt and emotional scar I had to release, and it helped because the 5-MeO DMT, the Bufo, is really great, guys. Because it's great for people who are on substances who need to shift. It's great for people who have deep
Yes.
trauma.
Yes.
It's great for people who need to change. It's like a hard reset. You get reset from everything. Sometimes we're stuck in our thoughts, we're stuck in our ways, and we need to change. And that's what happens with near-death experiences. A lot of times people change the trajectory of their life afterward. Not that it's safe though. The Bufo is safe. And so I drove to like this other city, and I met this lady, and I did the combo, which is like a poison dart frog, and your whole body swells up and your heart races, and it releases this. I like that actually. It was like a challenge.
It is, yeah.
And then, the Bufo is wild because you drop your what I experienced. I blacked out immediately almost. So I just took a big rip, and you inhale the smoke, and I went through like this tunnel, and I had my intention, and then I just blacked out for like 20 minutes. And she took care of me while I threw up a few times. Not everyone does, but I did. It was fine though. It was just a little bit. You drink water prior to it and you fast, so it's not a big deal. And then it's like your soul goes through a washing machine with God and comes back clean, and you feel like way better after it. I quit all my bad habits. I was on this trajectory. I got activations from body work and mushrooms a few weeks later,
Nice.
where my whole body was vibrating at that frequency. It was a really great experience. And even though it's unknown, we need to challenge ourselves. We grow when we challenge ourselves. So I recommend it if you're going through, if your life is more difficult to live the next day than to do the scary experience, do the scary experience, because you'll have that change or shift.
Yeah, when I did DMT, I was at my darkest point of my life, so I used it as a tool to get out of it, and it definitely worked.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Speaking of psychedelics and spiritual ascension, we believe on this show that they're very interrelated. So let me ask you this: as far as the shift that you mentioned, I believe like you're talking about probably what everyone talks about is a shift from 3D. I believe it's a 5D is probably what you would mean. I'm all about that action too. But let me ask you this: what do you think the spiritual ascension is actually going to look like? Because to me, what I think that regular reality is going to become less and less rigid, and it's going to become a little bit more psychedelic. Time is going to be a little bit more fluid. So is reality and stuff like that. And slowly, we're going to slip into a higher state of consciousness, kind of the states of consciousness that we experience while we're on psychedelics and things like that. We're experiencing higher states of consciousness. What does the spiritual ascension look like to you in your mind?
Yeah, that's a good. Wow, that's a really deep question. I've never been asked that. But there's a 26,000 year elliptical cycle around the universe that our solar system's going through, and that's we're going to an into it.
Yep.
You know about it?
Yep.
Yeah. Aquarius is what we're going into.
Yeah.
And back in Atlantean and Lemurian days, our body was more translucent. So energy healing frequencies, sound healing was more effective on us. We went through the dark ages of consciousness of not, a lot of people couldn't even read. So like word of mouth was all you had.
Yeah.
Back even 30, 40 years ago, newspaper and the radio was the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at the news. Look at the news now. Do you think the propaganda was different? I don't think so. So
yeah, people trust TikTok and Twitter much more than CNN and NBC. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's whoever has the biggest microphone controls the narrative, and that's what everyone's waking up to and realizes now. And so as we raise our consciousness, we can activate our shock. So there's what is that? Hawkins scale of enlightenment. Have you guys seen that?
Is that the one?
If you guys haven't, looked it up.
Go ahead.
Play it. Put it on the screen for the guests when you do the episode, maybe. But if you're at home, look up Hawkins scale of enlightenment, and it starts with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like survival, food, and then safety. And so the red root chakra needs to be safe to activate the sacral chakra. Then the solar plexus, and then the heart. So it's a scale of enlightenment, and as we raise our frequency from suffering to neutrality to enlightenment and love and peace and true authenticity is very close to the top as well, because that's loving yourself unconditionally. So as we raise that frequency, we'll vibrate at a higher frequency, and I believe in the past life regressions I went to, or future past life, call them future past lives, they mentioned they were on Earth, so we make it, spoiler alert, we don't blow ourselves up, and at least in that timeline. And so the people they looked like people, but they were more translucent. They were still biological. They had to reproduce with the way we do still, so they can still have pleasure and do that. But they were more translucent, and they vibrated at a higher frequency. They all got along. There was more love. There's more understanding. So yeah, I hope that can help.
Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. That's kind of what goes into what Helena Blavatsky believes, where we kind of like evolved from spiritual ethereal beings, and then we eventually our spirit fell from grace into matter, and then we're going to go back into energy, basically. And it all has to do with like our ego and things like that. But let me ask you this. Do you believe that we're in a spiritual warfare right now for the mind?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's like a spiritual warfare. There's magicians, and I think the global elite, we shouldn't have our society is like a casino. You put money in and it just takes it. And it's like, we could have abundance everywhere if people at the top weren't stealing all the money. We just saw that with USAID and that thing with the Somalians in Minnesota.
Yeah, the Leering Center.
It's like, why? We could have so much more money going to the people, but it's so follow the money is an important quote. Follow the money, power and control. Don't give away your freedom. Financial freedom is a freedom. So yeah, we need to. We could have abundance, but it's like a casino that we're living in, and it traps us in a place of scarcity, and we need to like fight each other and like be mean to each other to like survive, and that's like not fun.
Right.
So.
How would you say we break free from that cycle? Because I think that we look within and we change ourselves from within so that we change our surroundings. Would you say that that's the answer? And can you expand on that at all if it is?
Yeah, I mean, we could be the change we wish to see in the world, not complain about it,
Yeah.
and empower ourselves, heal ourselves, and not, clean our room before we yell at someone else for doing wrong. So we can be the best version of ourselves, and hopefully, as a community, we can rise up. But yeah, it starts with us healing our own trauma, and with hypnotherapy and these, and whatever modality you guys want to do, just do one or do
Hmm.
a lot of them, whatever
Yeah.
works for
Yeah.
you. I'm not saying it's hypnosis is the best. I do also do Reiki, dream
Nice.
interpret, like a bunch of different breath work. I think it's a well-rounded spiritual minded person is great. If yoga works for you, do that, but do more of that and do less of the substances and the anger. Anger, you tighten up your, this Dolores Cannon says anger causes colon cancer because you tighten up your, what is that muscle? The pelvic floor is always tight, and that's the muscle you use
Oh.
to down there. And
Putting
so if
stress
we
on it.
release, yeah, so I don't know, everyone at home, just release your neck and just relax for a moment and notice if your pelvic floor is tight. And if it is, loosen it and set an alarm. On my app, there's Journeys from the Subconscious, there's a awareness alerts that you can learn to relax those different muscles. And there's also a lucid dreaming one where you could
Oh.
learn to lucid dream by different techniques.
So
But
would
yeah,
you say that
it
anger
starts.
is sitting right there in that chakra? So you think people are just kind of feeling like they're not able to survive? Do you think that's where the trauma is coming from?
If you don't feel safe and you have a lot of childhood trauma, that your root chakra is affected. You need that stability and safety for the other ones to be activated. So a lot
Yes.
of us in the Western world are, the root chakra is fine, but the sacral one's clogged. So the sacral one is orange, and imagine a swirling clockwise. On my app, there's a meditation for it. But then once the sacral one is, that's like family and support and friends and loved ones. Once that's good, then the next one is the soul. So we need to activate all those. But anyway, this is a fun conversation. But in the East, a lot of the Africa and other worlds, third world countries, their root chakra can't even activate.
Yeah.
So they're not
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah.
So how
Absolutely.
can you meditate if you're getting chased by a tiger?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So what would you say, we only got a few more questions left before we let you go, but what would you say to somebody who kind of looks at your work and kind of wants to get into the kind of stuff you want to do? What would be their first step that you would say? What's your advice to somebody, young buck who wants to get in the game of past life regression, or just maybe spiritual therapy in general?
We need more healers.
Yes,
If
yes.
this is calling to you, try some different techniques that are free first, like meditation, like breath work, like just things
Yo,
that,
YouTube,
you
I'm
know,
telling you, the first time I had a
yep.
meditative experience, I was on YouTube trying to do my own past life regression. You know what I mean?
Yeah, try my app, Journeys in the Subconscious. There's a free
Yep.
version and a paid version for more of the complex stuff.
Okay.
But it's not that expensive. My sessions are a few $100s and the app's only like 10 or 15. So, that's, you're getting like a really good deal. But yeah, try a bunch of different ones. You don't need to go all in and spend a bunch of money on life coaching or
Yeah.
therapy. Don't do that. Do something that is more holistic, that can get to the root cause. Find the process of getting to the root cause, creating that change, and instead of numbing that pain like the pills, the band-aids do.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Because I mean, like Todd said in the intro, you know what I mean. You have challenges in these life, and if you don't overcome those challenges, they're gonna keep coming to you in this life or the next. You know what I mean. What do you think is the biggest thing that humanity needs to do right now in order to keep this trajectory going in the way of ascension? Do you think we need to start working on alleviating our trauma and integrating our shadows? What do you think is the most important thing for humanity to do at this point in time?
Yeah, it's we could, help every homeless person, or person that are addicted, but instead of that, how did that person become that way, and
Hmm.
how did that person become sick? So we probably from the top, is the people that run things, the mayor, the president, everyone from the top down. If we could create a better system to support everybody
Hmm.
and have them live in abundance, and instead of this scarcity mindset. But it starts with, where's the money, power, control, freedom,
Yeah. Yeah.
and health. health is a huge one. So eating good food and not getting sick. They sell the bad food so they can sell you the prescription for it,
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's a vicious cycle. So I'd like to see the audits of every city, of every state, of every country, of where is that money going, and really follow it. Like if I were to run a company and like part of the company needs money for something, I wouldn't just give them it. I would, what are you going to do with that?
I need
Like, tell me
receipts.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Spend it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why can't we do that?
Yeah. Yeah, man, we need responsibility. We need people to be held accountable when they're doing things like wasting funds and stuff like that. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole other time though. Thank you for coming on. Before we leave you out, can you tell us maybe one of the most wild or maybe more profound past life sessions that you've gone or anything like that? Any more stories, kind of like the Egypt one, or anything that just comes off the top of the mind? Anything fun?
Yeah. And by the way, I have a lot of spiritual people that power is dynamic and something that we learn here. And a lot of people have been kings and queens in past lives, and they learned either they were abused their power or learned to harness it. And a lot of times there's some dark forces that get them that way. I think people are inherently nice and loving, but there's some just shady stuff going on. But so I'll tell you about a past life session I did. I think your audience would like this one. I don't usually tell this one because it's kind of far out.
Okay.
But so this really spiritual girl was like one of my first sessions. She was usually I tell them to lay down in a bed or like on their couch. She was like in a park, and I'm like, "What? You're in a park? Like, well, we got to reschedule." She's like, "No, we can do it here." I'm like, "Okay." And she was really great. So we went into a past life, and she went into a past life as a dragon.
Wow.
And I was like, "What? You're a dragon? What do you mean?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm actually the queen of the dragons. She ruled over all the dragons."
Oh, wow.
She was a badass, and she could shapeshift into a humanoid being, but she was taller, and they would know, like, she would like listen to their music and stuff. She liked the people's music and food, but they would know she was a dragon. So one day she was a dragon, and she was ruling over all the other dragons. Male dragons would try to mate with her, but they would need to like defeat her first, or she would need to like submit to them. And they would like their scales would get hot like lava. And I asked her, could she breathe fire? She's like, "No, I don't need to do that. The yellow dragons do."
What? The yellow dragons?
Yeah, apparently that's the yellow ones do. And so I go to an important day. She went to an important day where the people, she was very negative about people. Like, yeah, those stupid people. They kept coming after us, and they killed some of us. And one day they snuck up on me while I was sleeping and cut my wings off. And it was like a dishonorable death, basically, but they didn't kill her. And I said, "Oh my gosh, what did you do next?" And she said, "Well, then we got with all the dragons, and we went around the fire, and we did a chant or a hum or a song or a chant, and they basically like vibrated at this frequency where they transported into another realm."
Oh, dang.
Dang, interdimensional travel with dragons? Dang.
Sounds like a children's book.
That's
like,
profound.
well, the Mayans disappeared. We have these almost all ancient cultures meditate around a fire, or they do chants around a fire.
Yeah.
And where did the Mayans go? Where did the Incas, like some of these, we don't know where they went. So maybe, they did something similar, but the people were too negative for them. And I've only had 3 other sessions with dragons, and
wow.
But they're known all throughout our ancient history. We have dragon depictions and all over. You watch Ancient Aliens. I'm sure you guys watched that show. Younger, right?
Definitely.
But and she actually had severe back pain in this lifetime. And after the session, we healed that from the wings being chopped off.
Oh.
We healed her back pain went away.
Wow.
Dang.
That's interesting.
That's crazy. And she's just in the park. Isn't that ironic? She just wants to be in the park while she does her past life regression, and she's a dragon. Wow, that's insane. That's very profound, man.
Dragons helped us. Not all. And by the way, about aliens too, most of them are nice and friendly. A lot of abductions are just them checking on their own kind, giving them downloads, monitoring, putting them back.
Wow.
They're like, so there's some percentage of people that are negative. There's some percentage of aliens that are negative. We all have a purpose. But I think they're mostly nice. And the dragons actually helped other sessions I've had with them. People rode on the dragons and they helped us with crops and farm the land. And they went away though, because the people kept killing them. So they had to flee. And so they all went away eventually. But anyway, there's lots of mythical, creatures that were from the old world. I think we're going into the new world and different things are changing. But these are just what my clients tell me, by the way. I'm just going by what they tell me.
Yeah.
And I'm open-minded. And that's the good trait of a spiritual practitioner, is to be open-minded to her.
Let me ask you this
things.
real quick. Do you feel like after doing these sessions and hearing trippy stories like that your mind has been open to more possibilities? Like you're like, oh, like I didn't even think dragons were real before this session or anything like that. Do you feel like these sessions are kind of opening your mind more to the possibilities, or do you feel like you've always known that there's infinite possibilities of everything?
Wow. Yeah. No, it definitely opened my mind more to this. I never used to think like mythological mermaids and stuff were real. I was some fairy tales and stuff, but there is some validity. If these stories withstood the test of time throughout history and ancient books and word of mouth, there's got to be some validity to it, even if it's just metaphors. But the point is that people get the healing from the session, and that's all I care about.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Man, thank you so much. You took us down such a big, great rabbit hole. Check him out, Journeys into Past Lives on Instagram. Jonathan, thank you so much. Before we leave you off, is there any kind of message you want to leave to the world?
Oh yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Listen to their other episodes. They're really cool, really amazing, awesome episodes. And Journeys into the Subconscious is my app. It's coming out next week.
Yes.
If you want to learn what I do, I teach what I do now. If you want to do a session, reach out. I do free introductory calls.
Nice.
Awesome. So check that out, guys. I'm going to go ahead and put his links down in the description on YouTube. They should also pop up on Apple and Spotify too when this gets on those platforms. Once again, Outsiders, thank you for joining us for another episode. It was an excellent episode. Thank you again, Jonathan, for coming back on. Once again, that's Journeys into Past Lives on Instagram. Please go follow him, check him out.
Download that app.
Yes, sir. Download that app, which is dropping in a week. Journeys into the Subconscious. Thank you again, Outsiders. I am your host and creator, Stilo Free. This is the other host and creator,
Dot 420.
and we out.
Peace.